Okay, I pressed start recording and we're going to start broadcast.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the joint webinar with Unigma and Cloudberry. Today we're going to talk about disaster recovery and cloud management in Amazon Web Services, Azure, and Google Clouds. My name is Kirill Bensonov. I'm the founder of Unigma, and we've got some folks from Cloudberry with us as well.
Hey Kirill, this is Eugene. I'm a solutions architect here at Cloudberry, and really, happy to co-host with you the webinar about disaster recovery and the cloud management in AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud.
Awesome. All right. Oop. Go ahead.
Okay. So Kirill, let me just put a couple of things here before we start. So before we start, we're going to launch some questions, some surveys, some polls. So the reason of those polls is that we want to make sure that the content that we deliver today is relevant. So basically, we want to make sure that the information that you get out of slides, out of the presenters, is something that you need. So that's why we're going to launch some polls. So actually, the first poll is happening right now. So please use the virtual buttons and hands to reply to those polls. Help us to deliver relevant content. We started to record the webinar. Basically, we're gonna publish the webinar after the webinar itself, and we're gonna send you the link to download it so you can review, relaunch it and rewatch it again, just in case if you missed something. And yes, a couple of more polls. We're going to launch. And also, if you have any questions or any concerns, or you need something to clarify, or you have some suggestions to us, please find out the questions box. So this question box is really useful tool. So you can share your thoughts with us. And we actually have another colleague from Cloudberry, Alexander. So he's going to help us with questions and with some of the technical aspects. So he's actually solutions architect. Alexander, welcome on Webex.
All right, excellent. Looks like a lot of voting going on right now, and I've got a couple more polls I want to throw up there just so we could deliver the content that you guys are looking for. Here's another one here.
Yeah, I just want to highlight something. So basically, we're going to talk about AWS, Azure, and Google, and I can see those response in our polls, which is great. So people are here, and they're expecting from us to talk about those platforms and nothing else. So this is great. We're going to be focusing on those 3 platforms, and I saw also there is a spike. So AWS was voted a little bit more than others. So this is not really surprise. So this is quite obvious because of the market shares. And yeah, so we're gonna try to focus, at least myself. Okay, interesting question.
Yeah, I did see some early voters as far as clouds go. Definitely AWS and Azure seem to have taken the top 2 spots, but that's not really a surprise.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool. Looks like a good number of Cloudberry customers on there. All right. Awesome. All right, excellent. I closed out the last poll, so without further ado, I think we'll continue on.
Yeah, it's all yours, Kirill, and just want to say, audience, thank you very much for sharing your results with us.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I'm sorry. Thanks, Eugene. Just talk a little bit about our agenda for today. We're going to talk a little bit about the managed services business model. We're going to talk a little bit about hybrid and public clouds. We're going to talk about who the market leaders are in infrastructure as a service. We're going to talk about how to build a recurring revenue stream in the cloud specifically for IT service providers, what the pain points are, what kind of tools there are out there, and what the next steps are in order to jumpstart your revenue in the cloud. Then we'll talk, Eugene will talk a little bit about cloud backup and disaster recovery services. He'll show you some use cases, and we'll show you some demos of Unigma and Cloudberry and show you how these two tools can really help you guys do a lot more with public clouds, specifically AWS, Azure, and Google. Those seem to be in the top two are AWS and Azure, of course. So I'll start talking about a little bit about the managed services business model. So what's happening to the traditional MSP business model? I mean, the model has been around, I believe, about a decade or more. It really took off in the 90s at some point, and the 2000s continued its growth, and the marketplace is still growing. Don't be mistaken. I recently saw a study by Forrester that actually recently started covering the managed services market as its own vertical, which is great news. That means that analysts are paying attention. That means that the space is large enough, and they valued the space at around $100 billion, which is a huge number. So obviously having even a small percentage of that space could translate to a big number. But let's see what's happening in the traditional model. Managed service providers, those that deliver proactive IT, have been around, as I mentioned, for about a decade. At this point, we're seeing a lot of transformation and disruption. Mark Andreessen coined the term "software is eating the world," and we think that software is eating your managed services business as well. As an example of which, at Google I/O, this was actually in 2016, Google has announced that Android applications will be available in Chrome OS. And we're all very familiar with apps that can be installed in iOS or Android. They're really a push-button installation without really a need for a lot of configuration. And if these types of applications are going to become more prevalent on the desktop, on the laptop, and on other devices, management for those devices will really decrease. Imagine if someone presses a button to install an app and then it's launched and it just works. There isn't really much need for a MSP to come in to that specific environment, is there? Another example of that is Office 365 is removing Exchange servers from your management. Software as a service is doing all kinds of stuff. QuickBooks, Xero, Microsoft itself with Dynamics, with really any application. I mean, even players like Autodesk with their heavy AutoCAD type of applications are cloud-based, and they have competitors that are cloud-based. So the point is that a lot of the on-premise is really shifting to a SaaS and infrastructure and the service type of a model. And then who are the major players? I mean, we just had a poll out there, so you guys are probably familiar with the majority of these names. AWS, about 30%, depending on what numbers you look at, growing about 60% year over year. Microsoft Azure, about 9% from some research that I've done, and growing over 100% year over year. Google, a smaller size, but growing very quickly. SoftLayer, and then there's a number of others. Rackspace, we know from before. Linode, DigitalOcean. Eugene, do you have any other thoughts on who you guys see out there as IaaS players these days?
We actually see lots of really privately held companies, like startup companies, and they're trying to address their challenges to us, and from time to time we help them. I can't really name you anyone, but we see all this flow. But basically, you mentioned all the majors, so that's great.
Great. And just want to talk a little bit about how different are managed services in the cloud versus on-premise. Really, it's not that different. The underlying basics of what MSPs are delivering in the cloud versus on-premise is very similar. At the end of the day, customers want to be able to come in to work or do their work from wherever they may be and be able to launch the applications. I mean, customers at the end of the day care about applications. They care about that those applications are running, they're running well, they're running fast, and that they're running all of the time, that there's no outages, disasters, or corruption or anything like that. They obviously, they want to be able to use their apps and do their work. So at the end of the day, they used to do it from on-premise, and now they do it from the cloud, whether it's a SaaS or an IaaS delivery model. So it's not that different. Now the tools and the ways to do these managed services are a little bit different, and the way to monetize them is a little bit different. So again, we think of public clouds are sort of the new servers, right? MSPs should have expertise, in our opinion, in 2 or more public clouds. If you think back to the server era where we had IBM or Dell or HP servers, I don't think anyone out there, at least today, I think there were those times before, but I don't think anyone out there today would tell a customer that they're not going to be able to sell them or service them because they're a Dell shop, they're an HP shop, right? The underlying hardware matters very little these days, and we think that public clouds, AWS, Azure, etc., are going to go the same route. Yeah, they're a learning curve today. They're a little bit different, but at the end of the day, it's just a slightly different way of delivering some of the same great services. Everyone, of course, has their values, just like HP, Dell, IBM, and others do for hardware. Microsoft, Azure, AWS, Google, and others have their strong suits and their weaknesses in the cloud. But at the end of the day, we think of clouds as the new servers. So adding recurring revenue streams. This is the most interesting part. I think this is what really matters for MSPs, because everyone is at the end of the day is looking to add new recurring revenue, stay competitive, and deliver a great customer experience. So this is where the fun stuff comes in. So what kind of services are out there for MSPs to monetize as it relates to cloud? First and foremost, cloud migrations, right? Looking at what does a customer have on-prem and moving those workloads to the cloud. It could be a comparison, an ROI analysis, consulting engagement up front, or what's called a lift and shift, where you essentially pick up what's on-prem and move it directly to a cloud provider of choice, and the workloads then run in the cloud. So it could be a simple or a complex migration. It really depends. But there's a huge amount of opportunities. I mean, from the partners I talk to, other than migrations to like Office 365 and that type of stuff, there's hardly ever any on-prem type of migrations or deployments going on these days. I mean, there aren't too many customers deploying servers on-premise, building new Active Directory domains, forests, or what have you. I mean, really, folks are looking to the cloud to lower costs, to give them better uptime, to give them better disaster recovery and that kind of stuff. So another option is cloud performance monitoring. So essentially what folks have done on-prem for a long time, but now it translates to the cloud. Customers want their cloud infrastructures running 24/7 with again, fast, highly available, etc. So monitoring those, responding to those alerts, that's a great service to monetize on. Being a cloud service broker, so essentially reselling AWS, Azure, Google, or other clouds to your customers. Again, especially for SMBs, they don't have the expertise, the time, nor the desire to buy and learn all about these different public clouds. So they look to their MSP to come in and provide them a full package, sell them the infrastructure, manage that infrastructure, migrate them into that infrastructure, and help them lower costs in that infrastructure. Backup and DR. This is what Eugene's going to talk a little bit more about, but provide disaster recovery, whether they're a hybrid type of a DR from on-prem to cloud, or a cloud-to-cloud type of environment where you're backing up like a Office 365 or something like that needs backup as well. That's a huge opportunity. There's a huge need for that, and Eugene will tell you a little bit more about how Cloudberry can help you do that as well. And then full cloud managed services, right? So tying it all together, managing the disaster recovery, managing the performance monitoring management, managing the cloud costs, managing security, tying it all together and providing a full cloud managed service is really what it's all about. That's the highest value monetization strategy out there. So some of the pain points that we've heard from partners for delivering cloud managed services or these other quote unquote point solutions, billing. So that's a huge pain point. I mean, if you're I don't know how, looking at the polls, some of the folks were already a reseller or a CSP for AWS or Azure, but take Azure as an example. If you're an Azure CSP, billing your customers for your CSP utilization is not an easy task. It's a manual process. You've got to look at Excel spreadsheets, CSV files, copy and paste, and then hope to deliver something that has no errors to your customers. So that's definitely a pain. And the same goes for Amazon. They have a very convoluted, consolidated billing type of a process. Backup and DR certainly is a major pain point that can be addressed. How do you back up your on-prem, whether it's a server, or how do you achieve your RTO objectives? How do you make sure that your clients are up and running, whether they're using on-premise, cloud, or a hybrid type of a solution? Monitoring, platform, and API. So most MSPs have an agent-based monitoring service they can already rely on. There's a number of tools out there that have agent-based services. However, public clouds are API-based more so than they are OS-based, meaning that not every service in the cloud has an operating system where you can install an agent. And even if it does, if it's a virtual machine, that only gives you a certain number of metrics, and that's not a full picture. So monitoring both inside the operating system and at the API layer is extremely important. And then cost management. Obviously, I put that last, but that's really probably the first point that should be highlighted. Very, very important. Customers that utilize cloud, they expect to pay the least amount of money they possibly can. And because all of the resources are billed on a per hour type of a model typically in the cloud, it's a MSP's responsibility to make sure that no extra resources are being utilized. Virtual machines are sized correctly, that they're not oversized, they're not undersized, storage isn't out there just hanging out and not being utilized, etc. So there's a lot of things that MSPs can do to lower cloud spend for their customers. So we'll talk a little bit about kind of the next steps, and then I'll show you a quick 5-minute demo here. So one second, let me switch my screen. All right. So here,
Kirill, it's Eugene. Kirill, sorry. I just want to confirm that I can see your web browser, just to make sure.
Yeah. Can you see my browser or no?
Yes, I can see. Just want to
awesome.
confirm. That's fine.
Yep. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So I just want to jump into a quick Unigma demo, and then I'll pass the control to you, Eugene. So as we talked about, Unigma is kind of a tool that ties a bunch of different things together. If you look at the top here, we're able to help you first and foremost visualize your I'm sorry, I got some pop-ups here, but we'll help you visualize your cloud environment. So you could see what virtual machines, storages, databases, web apps, etc., what's running in your customers' cloud environments. We could help you monitor and create policies to monitor the performance of these public clouds. Then, very importantly, we have a cost analytics engine. So this is a analytics tool that will help you look at what your customers are spending in each of the clouds, and we work with AWS, Azure, and Google. So we work with all three clouds. We'll help you look at what the customer is spending and where there are some opportunities to lower the cost. So as you can see here, there's some oversized instances, oversized databases, and other kinds of rules that will help you guys out in managing and providing these full managed services to the customers. There's a bunch of other stuff that I'm not going to get into, but we have a lot of the cost management available. Then obviously automation. So everyone wants to be able to save a little bit of time. So we have an automation engine. We call it Smart Tasks. These Smart Tasks will essentially allow you to do different metric driven and property driven actions. So let's say you wanted to shut some virtual machines down, you want to back up some virtual machines in the cloud at a certain time, you want to expand some VMs based on utilization, things like that. So all of these things are essentially available via our Smart Task automation engine. Let's see, then we also have reporting. So then it's very important for your customers to see what you're doing in these clouds. So a reporting engine is available. You could send customer reports, you could send internal reports, you could see what's going on. And then lastly, a billing, ability to bill, as I mentioned, for Azure CSP or AWS is very, very important. Most of our customers use this process in addition to others to deliver managed services. So with this tool, you could essentially build a billing process, add your discount markups, custom line items, and we pull in data right from AWS, consolidated billing right from Azure Cloud Service Provider API, and so you guys have actual full data that you can mark up and you could send to your customer, and et cetera. So that's and then we also integrate with some MSP tools like Autotask, Kaseya, and ConnectWise, so you could push those bills into those tools as well. So don't want to take too much time, but at a high level, this is kind of what we have. You could have your customers log in here, share these dashboards with your customers so they can see what they're doing, what their utilization is, et cetera. So there's a lot available, and I'm available for questions after if you have some specific questions as well. So back to
just a quick,
yeah.
Kirill?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, just a quick one. Can I ask you to go back to your demo?
Sure.
Can you show us a little bit more about the storage and reports and monitors around the storage? Because there is kind of questions that we have.
Yeah. So essentially, storage, we work with two types of storages, object and block. Here we have volumes, which is block storage. Those are basically disks attached to a virtual machine, and you can see them here. We have certain metrics and things like that we can monitor for. For example, we'll go into create a policy. We have health monitoring. We can essentially create a storage. Let's go to volumes. We can create a policy that applies, for example, to all volumes, and then look at certain types of metrics that are available to us for volumes and enter conditions, thresholds, and get notifications to email or to our integrations, etc. Was that kind of the question, or?
So essentially, this is designed for block storage. What about the object storage, like S3?
Yep.
For example, any good metrics that you can show for S3, for example? There's a question. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I have one that's off the top of my head. Let me try one. I don't know what's available, but yeah. Nothing there. I mean, unfortunately,
you can explain what exactly it does. Anything about the storage class, like it shows you the benefit of switching to a different storage class, or it's not about that?
Yes, we do have some rules on that as far as cost savings, and then for monitoring that storage, S3, I think it only has like two metrics: total size and something else, and it's not updated in real time. So for monitoring size of the storage, we could certainly help there. And then looking at, what's your overall storage utilization, that'd be more of a cost analytics type of a function, and then helping our customers, our partners, lower costs by either moving to a different type of storage or deleting storage that's not used. So yeah, we can address both of those.
Yeah, perfect. I think we can. Yeah, we can address this reply to one of the questions that we have here in Q&A session. So thank you very much.
Awesome. All right. With that, I'm gonna. So as a next slide here, I'm just gonna show this real quick without even going into full mode, and I'm gonna pass the control over to Eugene. So to kind of sum it up, Unigma can help with performance monitoring, cost management, billing, automation to help you guys save time, visualize your cloud, and have your customers visualize the cloud as well. I'll pass the mic to Eugene, who's going to talk a little bit about Cloudberry and DR, cloud backup, and how that all ties together. Eugene?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Kirill. Just really a quick question. There is another question in QA. Is able to monitor size and increase the size by %. I think it's about the thresholds that you can set up in Enigma. So Enigma is going to watch at the threshold, and if the size of the volume, I guess it's about the block volume, like EBS volumes, for example, in AWS. And the question is, can it increase, automatically based on API calls to storage provider? Not.
I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest, on that one, but I'm happy to take it after. And if it's not something that we have today, those are the kinds of things that we can, build in very, very quickly. It's just part of our engine. So yeah, I'm happy to take a look at it after. I'll find the question.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to ask you to confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, perfect. So thank you. I think I'm ready to kick off with my part. So you've been talking about the cloud management, automation, reporting, and so all these were related to AWS, to Azure and Google Cloud Platform, I believe. So my part is related to disaster recovery and backup cases. So I just want to start my presentation from, analyzing and trying to think about white cloud backup. So it's all obvious, but let's just try to highlight all those obvious things. So it's actually, very, very low from the TCO perspective, because there is no upfront commitments. So you just use the model which is normally called pay-as-you-go. So basically, if you talk about disaster recovery or if you talk about backups, so we use that amount of storage that we need today. So for example, 1 gigabyte, 5 gigabyte, 10 gigabyte, 15 gigabyte. So we just offload this information to the cloud storage, start to use it today. So there is no need to purchase that equipment for the following year. So there is no need to plan the budget. There is no need to lock, some amount of money in our budget, which is very good from the budget perspective. When we talk about the availability and the durability of the storage, especially the backup storage and the platform for virtual machines that we plan to spin up when required in case of disaster, in case of accident, we actually talk about something which is not like 11 nines, for example, in AWS. So basically the guarantee, because of the cross-replication of their services, they keep multiple availability zones in their infrastructure. So basically it's not just a single copy of your data, even if you upload the backup files to the cloud. It's just multiple copies, and we don't really know about that. We even don't need to know about that, because it's something that we pay for. So we just don't have to care about the backbone, the underneath part of that service. So we just use the cloud service, we have endpoint, and we upload the information to that endpoint. So security, right? So that's quite an important question also. And all cloud providers today guarantee at least security in transit, security at rest. So there are different mechanisms for securing the data. It can be service side encryption using like key management, and can be a customer key, and so on and so forth. So basically, being in that industry for over 7 years, I haven't heard any complaints about the security from the cloud perspective. So basically, all these tools, all these elements of the security perspective available today. So we can start to secure our data, we can start to encrypt the data, push that to the cloud, and if needed, we can decrypt and use the data which is inside. So it's all about security, and we just have it in a cloud storage. Now, when we talk about the corporate like IT departments, or let's say we are the company that has very long retention policy requirements. So for example, we need to keep data for the audience audit, sorry, during, let's say, 5-7 years. So normally what we're going to do if we don't have clouds, so normally we're going to think about tape. We're going to think about the tape as most reliable equipment for for archiving our data for that long-term retention policy. So tape can be replaced. I mean, tape are still used, and I don't have anything against tape, so that's just fine. I'm just trying to again to think about great alternatives, available and very effective alternatives for all this on-site equipment and services. So cloud is really great alternative to tape equipment. So we have different services, we have different storage classes for for long-term archival. So for example, if you talk about AWS, they have Glacier, they have infrequent access. So it depends on the retention, depends on the requirements for the backups. We may think about either infrequent access, like the data that can be accessed right now, but that's going to be cheaper comparing to the standard class, or it can be even Glacier if we need our archives only for audit, reasons. So for example, after 5 years or 15 years, so we have all these archives sitting there, and we just go there, get access to our data, decrypt them, unarchive them, give it to people who require that information, and that's it, done. So it's just really a great alternative to having exactly the same retention for tape. But obviously you need to service your tape, you need to purchase your tapes, your tape drives. There should be an update, like maintenance for your applications and software, maintenance for the equipment itself. There should be expert, and so on and so forth. So basically, there are many other things, many against having those equipment on site. So think about cloud as a great alternative to cases like that. And finally, I've been to again, like been here for like 7 years, and even earlier, when we faced initially the virtualization era, when people started to think about migrating their physical boxes to virtualization because of like consolidation, because of the more efficient way of compute resources. Instead of 13% of compute resources utilization, we can consolidate everything, put an ESXi box or a Hyper-V box and run all our applications or all our services just from one or a couple of boxes within cluster. And it's something similar happening, I think, right now. So people are considering to migrate lots of services towards cloud because, or they try to use the mixed environment, like the mixed on-prem infrastructure together with cloud services. And it actually gives very mature and robust infrastructure. So in case of any accidental problems, we always can fail over it. We always can get data from there. We even more can extend the storage that we have on Prime. So for example, we can set up different retention policies, like for on-site, we can keep only short retention policy, and for off-site, for long-term retention policy, we can use cloud. So there are several cases, and it's all up to the service provider, up to the strategy, up to the requirements of the customer or employees or the company rules and policies. But we are quite flexible. Having cloud is a great extension for the on-prem infrastructure.
Hey, Eugene, there's a quick question. Just one, I think it's maybe more of a clarification. Somebody, Kevin here, wrote that Cloudberry advised this week that there is no current option in MBS portal to report on individual data stored per backup plan for the same server. Is that anything you're aware about?
I need to check that. I think my colleague Alexander, who is actually looking at the questions while we are presenting, so he's actually checking that. And no worries, Kevin. We're going to help you with that question, or at least we're going to give you a reply.
All right, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Kirill. So moving forward, so what we, so when we talk about backups, what kind of backup services we can think of today? So one of the really basic requirements that we have is actually file level backup when we have either file share or we have just like file share where we have files of our employees or files of our customers if we play a role of service provider. So the file level backup is really basic and decent backup that we can offer today as a service. And so it's just files. So files are going to the cloud. So we have copies of those files, so quite obvious. And when we talk about Cloudberry services and Cloudberry functionalities today, so what we can offer everything that you may need. Like it can be encrypted backup, it can be compressed backup, it can be a backup that you place in a certain storage class. So basically you can play with the storage class just to cut cost of your storage. Again, so AWS offers you different storage classes like infrequent access, standard storage class, Glacier. There is a lifecycle policy that you can enable also. And by having all these features and functions and settings for the file level backup enabled, we can achieve desired result from the cost perspective. So our backups in the cloud can be, as cheap as possible, and essentially it's going to be affordable for us and create alternative to what we can have on prem, keeping the backup on the NAS box or on tape. And when we talk about the entire computer or mission critical service or application that we may want to protect, and maybe we may want to give even more guarantee, even more recoverability, like we start thinking about the availability of that service, like continuous continuous data protection or availability of that service that will fail over in case of accidents on prime. So in that case, we start thinking about disaster recovery, and what we have in mind, or what we can start thinking about, is image-based backup. So Cloudberry offers image-based backup today, and from the recovery perspective, it's so great. I mean, it offers so many capabilities from the recovery perspective. It can be back to the computer. It can be like back to the computer, or it can be to a different computer, what we call the similar hardware. So imagine that you have a backup, image-based backup of your computer, and that computer just gone, like passed away, and that's kind of laptop or that's kind of server. And what we can do, we can just recover from scratch right to the bare metal, and the backup can be kept in the cloud also. So it's just a matter of USB stick, sorry, we just put it back to the computer, click a few buttons, and computer starts to retrieve the backup from the cloud, and instantiate its copy. So after a few minutes or hours, depends on the bandwidth, if we talk about the cloud as destination for our backup, we can get a copy of that computer restored to a dissimilar hardware in case of complete failure. So it's just an example, but similar can be done towards to ESXi box, for example. If we want to do kind of P2V migration, if we want to see how our physical box can run on top of ESXi server, if we want to see how Windows 2012 R2 with something on board like SQL database, for example, and we want to see how this box can be running on top of ESXi box or Hyper-V. So that's not a problem for us. We can do that service as well. And you can actually offer that service to your customers or to your employees, or you can use it in your infrastructure.
Hey,
now, when we talk about cloud, yeah.
Sorry, Eugene, there's a quick question that came up from D. And it's asking, can you, I believe the question means to ask, can you do AWS workload to Azure? That is cloud to cloud. I believe the question's around moving AWS to Azure as far as workloads go.
Well, I don't know what exact service do you need to get from AWS to Azure, but I can tell you the following. So what we have, when we talk about objects, for example, if you want to move your data from AWS across to Azure, from AWS S3 bucket to Azure blob storage. So that's okay. We can do that. So it's called cloud to cloud. So basically, you can move data across cloud providers and get them available in your Azure. So that's supported. That's possible. We have Explorer. We have backup product and its cloud to cloud feature. If you talk about services, if you talk about compute instances, like compute services, for example, you run EC2 instance, and you want to try that EC2 instance as Azure virtual machine. So that's possible also. So we have agent, and it's all about image-based backup. So when you have image-based backup, it's actually agent. So cloud backup agent, you put it into your compute instance, you put it into your guest operating system, which is inside your compute instance. So for example, EC2, Windows operating system, you put CloudBerry agent inside, you kick off the backup job, so it does the image backup job and puts that information to S3, for example, or can be put to Azure blob. And then what you can do, you can actually restore your computer from image-based backup to any of compute instance. It can be EC2, or like in your case, it can be Azure virtual machine. So essentially, the answer is yes. So at least two examples I gave you. I've given you. It's like S3 service and the data that you can move across, and the EC2 instance can be backed up and then restored as Azure virtual machine.
Awesome.
So let's move on. Yep.
There is another quick question here. Do you offer failback to on-premise from Google Cloud? Is that an available feature?
So that's really a nice question. So the GCP is something that we're gonna provide shortly. We're gonna start to provide shortly. I think one of the slides I'm gonna skip today, but so what we can do today in terms of instances and compute instances and the operating system inside is Azure and EC2. So the GCP is something that we are working on, and I think there are a few announcements done already in social media. So the GCP compute instance is going to be coming shortly. So let me give you, thanks for the question. So that's really good feedback, and it's just another push towards development. So they are aware that there is kind of interest in a market. So just a quick example. We've been trying to build the real example, like real user example, and so that is quite a successful example. So take a look at the structure, at the schema. So what we have here, we have on-prem data center where we run computers, servers, and some of the data arrays. And let's say that this is corporate department, but this can be applicable to service provider as well. So let's consider this is a single node and this is corporate department, and we have a couple of challenges, number of challenges, like we need to back up computers, we need to back up servers, we need to back up data arrays with the user's data. Let's say these are just a bunch of disks, or like shelves with disks, or like NAS boxes. So essentially we need to protect everything, and what we can do, so to the right is actually AWS clouds, where we have different services. It's actually a lot of services that we can use, but on that picture I believe that we have like roughly like 5 or 6 services available in cloud. We can use those services today. So at least buckets can be used for storing the backups, right? So we can store the backup and we can play with different storage classes. It can be again like lifecycle policy with Glacier, or it can be infrequent access, or it can be standard storage class if you want to to keep those backups for short-term retention policy if we need to get access to those backups as quickly as possible without extra cost. So the standard class, I think, is going to be good for from AWS perspective. So having a file level backup, so we have option to restore those files like using the regular recovery button, so we can get either bunch of files or just a single file. we can deliver back to the original location, which is nice. But when we talk about image-based backup, and let's say we have mission-critical server, and that server should be protected, so we can place image backup to AWS bucket, and then we have several options from the restore perspective. Can be EBS volume if you want to try how the instance, how this compute piece can work in EC2 environment, how we can run that computer in as EC2 infrastructure, so we can do that through the EBS volume, so that can be EBS volume recovered from the entire backup, or it can be Amazon machine image, so we can recover and place image of that computer as AMI, and then we can deploy our new EC2 instance using that template, which is quite handy. And then the final thing is when we talk about mission critical application, so that mission critical application can be restored as EC2 instance. So we just simply have that capability in a product. So right from the image-based backup, we can define, okay, so that's recovery point we want to use, and we want to recover that point as EC2 instance. And there are different options and settings that we can apply to that instance and to the configurations around that instance. It can be a certain availability zone, or we can define security aspects around that EC2 instance, like security groups and some other things that we can play with in order to get exactly what we need from the security perspective and from the application point of view angle also. So now the final piece here is all user and system queries that we may want to fail over from the on-prem infrastructure. We may consider to use Route 53 in that case. So I mean, that's kind of often question that we get: how do I deal with routing? And if I don't have, let's say, routing, so how do I do that? So as an example, Route 53 can be used in that case. So we just set up the rule when this actually should go to AWS, when this should go to our corporate department. So, and the RDS here in the picture in the right part of the slide is just another example how we can help. So Cloudberry has agent specifically for Microsoft SQL. So that agent helps you to protect your Microsoft SQL database by delivering native backups like BAK files and transaction log files. You're going to receive on your backup destination. And as you know, there's RDS like relative database RDS like database with different platform support. And one of that platform is Microsoft SQL. I've been trying to reuse my BAK files by import-export utility specifically for RDS. And you know what? What you can do, I mean, it's just another sample of recovering of your database. So what you can do, you can deliver backups of your SQL database to S3 storage, and then by using import utility, point your RDS instance to those BAK files, and that RDS is going to pick your databases and tables and obviously structuring data from those backups, and you actually have the endpoint, RDS endpoint with the Microsoft SQL backup in the cloud. So you can start to use that endpoint, and again, the routing rules and the failover can be configured over Route 53, I believe. Or if there are any other options, you can use that. But it's just a sample how you can use our products and how we can use image-based backup or file-level backup or a specific agent for the application. So there is a question, can you back up your Mac operating system? Yes, we do have agent for Mac operating system, and it's just very simple file-level backup. You can backup, place it to cloud provider of your choice, and then get restore options available. Yeah, I believe the question has been replied. So a couple of other things that I want to highlight. So MBS, or Managed Backup Service, is the platform that we made recently. It's actually not recently, but it's available for several years. And it's designed to help service providers and IT departments to struggle with their backup needs. So essentially, it's a web interface where, as administrator, as IT administrator, or as representative of IT department or service provider, you go and you start to manage your backup agents, either agent for Windows or agent for Linux or for Mac, etc. So you manage those builds, you prepare those builds, you deal with rebranding of your software, so it can be rebranded completely using your logo, your splash screen, your native elements of design. So your employee, your customer doesn't have any clue what's the company and if it's Cloudberry or not. So we completely hide this information, and this is what we call rebranded software. So in MBS, or Managed Backup Service, you also play with accounts, with storage accounts. So you have the AWS or Google or Azure accounts, and you just define which backup should go in which section. You also define different things like storage classes, like lifecycle policy, compression, encryption, and all these kind of settings that you may want to apply to your backups. So MBS is really single pane of glass, where you go in order to manage your backups, and in order to get your information about your backups, about your users, get the billing information, troubleshoot, get the root cause of the problem, and generate reports, monitor those backups, etc. So MBS is really a great interface, and it's capable with it has lots of capabilities that you may need or you may not need today, but I believe there are no case when you need to jump to the agent, to the remote computer to do something. So we have everything in MBS available for that sort of agent. So a few words about the Office 365 and Google applications. We offer today some of the services for those applications also. So we can protect them, we can back up information, so it can be configured with a certain retention policy. As a destination, as you can see, it can be any of these three storage provider. So the backup can be encrypted and compressed. And there is a centralized management. Again, it's also MBS, or Managed Backup Service, where you can start work with this application in order to protect your cloud mail service or cloud application. So just to highlight and wrap up really, so there was one of the questions, if we support Mac. So yes, Mac, we do support Mac. We also have agent for Linux. We also have agent for Windows. There are two agents for Exchange and for SQL. Database, quite helpful. You can start using them today. All products available in 15 days. And there are also some other tools that you may want to use, like Cloud Manager, which was our first product. It's Cloudberry Explorer, and it's designed to give you access to your data in buckets and copy your data across that bucket from your computer to that bucket, or back from that bucket to your computer. So it's just an essential file management tool. And we also do have Drive. So Drive is actually a product to map your bucket to your computer, where you can have extended storage attached to your computer, and every document that you put into that drive, that you put into that mapped drive. So when I say map, I mean like you map and you get a separate letter in your computer, in your Windows computer, next to your C drive or to D drive. So essentially it's your network and network disk, and everything that you place there appears immediately in your cloud storage. It can be, again, Azure, it can be AWS S3 or Google or any other cloud of your choice. So that's it from my side. I see some other questions coming into QA section, but I'm just going to switch to the next slide. Kirill, do you have any questions or do you have any comments?
No, I mean we we can address any other questions at this time, or kind of talk about the next steps if we want to kind of shoot to the next one. I think there's another
Yep.
question about Oracle agent. Did you guys have an Oracle agent at all?
For the database, no, we don't. But we actually have, a couple of cases how we can help. So it's just to address your question to our sales team, and we're going to help you. And there was another question I just want to quickly cover. What is the best possible RPO when disaster recovery in physical and virtual machine service to EC2? So, so the RPO, what is RPO? So it's minimal data loss, right? And so the RPO depends on your bandwidth, depends on your changes in the computer, and it also depends on the mechanism that you apply to your backup. Can be compression, encryption, and all these elements impact your RPO. Because I mean, you may consider RPO of 24 hours, and in fact you can do that, but some of the people are thinking about like RPO of 1 hour. So that 1 hour of RPO for a virtual machine is cumbersome, I believe, because your data should be, I mean, the first one is going to be full, but after the full, we're going to do incremental. And the number of changes that that you generate depends on your application, and we need to detect those changes and upload to the cloud. In reality, what you see in configuration settings is the ability to work with even 1 minute frequency, so you can actually do your backup on minute basis. But this is just in theory. It's not possible. I think that 20 minutes, like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour recovery point objective is is quite affordable, and it's possible to achieve. But again, it depends really on what you backup and what changes you have in your applications or your services.
All right, thank you very much, Eugene. We do have, it appears to be a good number of other questions. However, we are running out of time. I think that some of these questions are very specific to an individual use case, and there's a couple of, other questions. Let me know if you agree, Eugene, or you'd like to take some more questions, or should we wrap up because we are almost at the end of our hour, and then take these questions offline individually.
Yeah, I'll take them on offline. Just want to pass you to talk about the next steps.
Excellent, thank you. So just to reiterate what Eugene and I have been talking about, obviously lots of opportunity in the cloud, either providing managed cloud services, doing backup and DR to the cloud, cloud to cloud, etc. So start thinking about how you're going to position your cloud services. Start thinking about it if you aren't doing it today. This is 2017 I think is going to be that transformational year where cloud's really going to start overtaking on-prem in all kinds of ways, where it isn't yet. Choose your cloud partners. So Azure CSP, AWS, become a reseller. Don't leave any money on the table. If you're just kind of purchasing at retail cost, that's fine, but you could certainly collect the extra margin, especially with the likes of Microsoft. I mean, they're very partner friendly. Go ahead and think about the tools that you need. Obviously, you've seen a little bit on Unigma. You've seen Cloudberry. What other tools do you guys need to really run your cloud services? And then start delivering. And I think on the next slides, we'll show you guys how to get a hold of us, and we will be following up with everyone with a recorded session after the webinar, so you'll be able to reach out and speak to us directly. So for myself, my information is right up there, Kirill@unigma.com, and then for the participants, we'll also be able to give you guys a promo code for an extended trial. Just mention that when you email us, or just check out our website, www.unigma.com, or tweet us at Unigma app on Twitter.
Perfect. And yeah, so from the Cloudberry perspective, what we have, so cloudberrylab.com is the website, and all the product that I mentioned today available in 15 days, as trials, and some of the products that we offer for free. Just check the website /free. And if there are any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. So there is a sales email or SA-team@cloudberrylab.com. So that's the technical email, or like solutions architect email, and if you have any thoughts or if you have any projects, share your thoughts with us, and we're going to help you for sure.
All right, thank you very much, Eugene, and thank you all for sitting in with us and being a part of this great presentation. With that, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kirill, very much, and thanks everyone for attending today. Thanks very much for your question. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.